Hello everyone! It is I, Ryan, also known as the Lovebat. And so I'm back once again to go ahead and let's play Diablo 2 for the world at large, the YouTube community, the YouTube viewing audience, and whatever else you'd want to go ahead and call it. But basically it's for all the world to see, and so we are on episode 5, I believe, now. We are going ahead and progressing even further through the dungeon. Last time we capped things off by getting Arcane's Valor, one of the best sets of armor in the game that you can get, and obviously for a class like the Sorcerer or the Rogue, you can most definitely make good use of this armor. It's very good, it gives you vitality, which is something that everyone needs. Good armor class, doesn't require too much strength, and less damage from enemies is always going to be good no matter who you are. So I quite like having that around. And of course the biggest difference is that now our character looks like he's actually built to last. He has nice shiny armor on now, his sprite changes, his staff even changes his appearance, his boots kind of look mostly the same, but he looks like he has a helmet, proper now, he has actual armor. He has a staff that looks more badass now, and that kind of depends on what weapon that you equip. Obviously, you de-equip the weapon, then it goes ahead and changes the appearance here. I don't think it changes based on the helmet or anything that you're wearing, unlike in Diablo 2, but it does have some minor changes depending on what weapon that you're carrying as well, so all in all, good thing to have. Very good thing to have around. So we took care of that and dealt with a bit of the lore dump.
My friend?
A bit of the lore dump as well that we got from Cain about Cain the Elder, about Arcane and his armor called Valor that was hidden away somewhere that we had to go and find, and then we had to go ahead and deal with a sort of, I guess, manifestation of what a hero would be, and you had to beat a hero to kind of receive the armor befitting of a hero, I guess. And so I don't know if it's like the duality of kind of mortality or anything like that, where, you know, you have to be the hero, you have to beat the hero kind of thing, or you have to prove that you're a hero by beating a hero or something like that. But it was definitely interesting. It was not in the original game. In the original game, Arcane's Valor was still there, the quest was still there, but the final encounter for the quest was much different. It was just you dealing with the horned demons like you had dealt with in the previous other rooms that you have to clear out before getting to the final room, which has Arcane's Valor in it, which is usually, in the original game, it's on a stand for you to go ahead and take off the stand, then it drops on the ground, and then you go ahead and pick it up and you have it. But in this version of the quest, with the Belzebub mod that I'm using, it ends up giving you a final boss type encounter to where once you defeat the manifestation of the hero, then you can end up, he drops the armor after you defeat him, and then you can get the armor. So that's kind of a nice little wrinkle that the mod added in there as to restoring content of the original game.
I sense a soul in search of answers.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. First thing I want to do is
I sense a soul in search of answers.
first thing I want to do is buy a couple more potions here, because I accidentally drank one at the end of last session, and also because frankly I like having a couple of extra potions in my inventory here in case I encounter an enemy that I'm having a tough time dealing with, and I don't want to have to worry about running out of mana. I do have 6 down here, and then an additional 3 in my inventory here, so just to make sure I have a couple of extra just in case. Let's see, none of these spell books are particularly interesting for me, except for maybe healing, so I guess I'll get healing and just keep leveling this up. That way, as my hit points go up, then this will have a better chance of just healing all of my health, I guess. We have more hit points now because Arcane's Valor boosted our vitality considerably. So now we have even more health than before, and we're getting to the point where it's going to be at least a bit more difficult for the enemies to take us out in one clean shot, I hope. Once we get more resistances down here as well with more gear, then it'll be even harder for our enemies to defeat us and to whittle us down as far as our health goes. Now we have no outstanding quests. We took care of several in the last one Arcane Zower, and then we took care of a worm infestation, which is additional content added in through the Belzebub mod.
The smell of death surrounds me.
And now we are back at the Catacombs, and we explored all of level 5 last time, but because we had to go ahead and find the waypoint here, the stairway up to town, so that way we could end the episode, we need to go ahead and find level 6 again, which I did last time, but I was not able to, I guess you could say, complete it. Okay, let's kill him. Like, yeah, I found the entrance to level 6 last time, but I wasn't able to go down there and continue the episode because I was already at, like, over 2 hours long, and I try and end the episodes as soon as I can, but unfortunately the waypoint system in this kind of makes that counterintuitive, because then you have to replay quite a bit of dungeons if you don't find at least one more waypoint. Oh, I don't want to go and get too close to the barrels. Let's do this. There we go. At this point, I don't know if I need to bother with telekinesis anymore for opening up chests, because the Empire Ring Band ring that I have absorbs half the trap damage anyway, and I can just cast... oh, I guess there's the entrance to level 6, so... I mean, I could just bypass level 5 and just go down there now. I mean, I already took care of level 5 last time and got all the experience that I could ever need from all that. I don't think I'm not seeing like any bookshelves or anything around there in the surroundings, so I don't think that there's really any reason for us to do level 5 again. So we're just going to go down to level 6 because we already did level 5 in the last episode, and we all saw what that was like. So let's just go and skip all that canavery and go right down to level 6 here. And we're already pretty high level for this particular point in the game because of the respawning enemies that were not in the original, so we pretty much already have this down pat, I think. And as you can see, we're already dealing quite a considerable amount of damage to enemies just by having a really good lightning spell here that's leveled up nicely. I like to go ahead and sometimes shoot a spell through the door when it's made clear that they're the invisible hidden enemies that will try and sneak up on you and then reveal themselves close to you and then run up to you and hit you. So sometimes when you encounter invisible enemies, you can kind of try and predict their movements sometimes if you feel that there's going to be a mob coming after you. And so you just go ahead and you send a spell through an area that you think that they're going to be coming after you, and then you can still hit them if they're invisible. It's kind of similar to Dungeons and Dragons, where even if you are invisible, you can still be hit by area of effect spells, even if someone can't see you. But maybe if they can hear you and kind of have a general idea of where you are, then you can still cast a spell in that area and hit them. That's kind of how it works in this game, so you can kind of try and predict where invisible enemies might be. Then you can go ahead and just go ahead and pop spells or pop arrows into a certain area to try and hit them. Yeah, lightning is obviously working rather nicely here, so I'm really pleased with that. I've been pleased with that for the past episode or two. I stuck with Charged Bolt for a while and Firebolts, and now it seems that we have a new favorite here. Lightning is really working like a charm, even though it does suck our mana a bit more. With the mana regeneration, at least we can somewhat offset that a little bit. And I need to go ahead and blow my nose here real quick, so give me 1 second here. Alright, I am back from my pause here, and we shall go ahead and continue here. Now, one thing that I haven't really talked about too much with this game that I actually do really like about it, maybe you can't really notice it because this is a playthrough with like commentary and stuff, so it might be difficult to hear all the way. But the music in this game is really good, especially notably the town music with the guitar and everything. The guitar music for the town music is definitely the highlight, but all the other music is also quite great. So the composer did an excellent job for this game. and it's really kind of foreboding, it's and gothic, and it really has you kind of not really on the edge of your seat, but it has you on edge. You know, it kind of makes you feel like there could be something that's trying to kill you around every corner, and you really have to be ready for anything. So I really like the music. I really like it. It's just it's hard for you to kind of get a feel for it if you're watching a Let's Play with commentary, because I have to lower the music volume down so that way my voice isn't drowned out by the music and the sound effects and everything like that. So if you're playing in like a non-Let's Play format, or if you're playing like in a long play format without commentary, the music and the sound design and everything like that is just really, really awesome. I'd highly recommend giving it a go for at least one playthrough. Well, that really sucked. We have lots of enemies here, and they don't want to die because my lightning will hit them. It has troubles going through doors sometimes if you have to just, like, you have to really aim lightning properly so that way it actually goes through the door to hit people. So if you time it right, you can kind of get them right as they're trying to come out of the doors, so that way they can't shoot at you much, if at all. Any more? I don't know. There might be a straggler or two left in there as usual, but not too concerned about it. Alright, so that was all of them. Let's see, phasing, firewall, I guess these might sell for a bit of money for one inventory slot. Book of Firewall is much more valuable though, I will learn that. It could be a situationally useful spell for crowds of enemies if I need it. And the ring, I want to pick that up. I kind of forgot about that. I don't want to forget about rings and amulets, because those tend to be the most valuable selling items in this game. So, and basically all rings and amulets have at least some kind of enchantment on them. So, and there's a unique creature over there that I have to deal with. So you can see it's invisible over here, and it's kind of going back and forth for whatever reason. So there's that, and we killed him already. Okay, well, yeah, so invisible, I mean, it's kind of a bummer that in this game, and I think in Diablo 2 as well, has a similar thing where unique creatures have like a light radius around them, so you know where they are, and you can kind of prepare for them and prepare for the encounter, I guess. But it's kind of a bummer, because if it's an invisible creature, then you kind of already know where it is, and part of the mystery and the suspense of trying to find it and deal with it and kill them before they kill you is kind of taken away, because then you can blast them with ranged attacks or spells and kill them before they can even get to you. So that is one bit of a bummer with the mechanics of this game that I wish would be a bit different. But like, invisible creatures should not have a light radius around them. It should only have a light radius when the unique creature becomes visible, I believe. That would be much better in my opinion. Much better from a balance standpoint, and just much more enjoyable from a mechanics standpoint as a player, because then it actually makes the invisibility relevant, because it's relevant for the basic, you know, hidden creatures that are invisible. But for the unique creatures, they have the light radius around them, so it actually makes them somewhat easier to deal with, since you know where they are and you can target them that way. Alright, so it's going to take care of all these things. Nothing much there to worry about, I guess. And of course, in this level, we're not going to have any of those worm quakes like we got in the worm infestation side quest, so at least you don't have to deal with the screen shaking anymore. Guess we'll go ahead and put these potions over here. And then we'll go ahead and put that over there. hidden creatures to go ahead and kill with lightning. And we have a lore book over there, but we're probably not going to be able to read it yet because we're going to have enemies around. And we have this thing that leads to a Chamber of Bone, which I guess the mythical book will probably allude on a little bit, or to expand on a little bit with the Chamber of Bone, I bet. Many sorts of side quests either have an NPC that you can talk to activate it, or some kind of lore book that you can sort of activate. What's this? We have fanatic archers that we can kill here. I guess there's not really unique creatures, like a step below unique creatures, I guess. At least I would think so. They don't seem as strong as unique creature, but they can still... they're still better than a normal creature, so I guess it's kind of hard to describe. They're a step above base creatures, and then they're a step below unique creatures that are really difficult. Let's deal with that. Very good. Deal with him. Very good. Let's go ahead and deal with that, and then we'll deal with him. There we go. Alright, deal with them. And I'll get to the Chamber of Bone here in a second. I just want to clear the surrounding area so I don't have like enemies coming after me while I'm trying to listen to the book. The good book over there. Alright, we have a magic axe. Break that, just get a little bit of health back for free. And we have some enemies to deal with over here. Alright, he's dead. And then we have him over there, and he's dead already. That's... lightning is such... like, lightning is my new best friend. I am a lightning sorcerer now. Yeah, if this were a D&D 5th edition character, Storm Sorcerer would be his new best friend. Alright, Magic Club might have a good enough enchantment to just be worth selling, I guess. That's kind of the consideration. We have magic items that we might plan on using at some point, and then magic items that we're just taking along because it might have enough sell value to be worth a decent profit.
Not enough mana.
Not enough mana. There we go. Now we have the mana. Yeah, admittedly, sometimes my aim is a little bit off trying to aim these lightning spells. There we go, that took care of them nicely. Alright. I like to call lightning the room clearer. I guess you could also call some other spells that. Firewall can be if you cast it 3 times and you aim it well enough, but usually lightning, just the way it streams through everything, basically just clears out a room. Later on you get chain lightning, which will be a blast when we eventually get it, but it does suck up your mana much more, and it's chain lightning sucks up so much mana from what I remember that you can't exactly spray and pray as much, because then you just suck up too much mana too quickly, and then you don't have enough mana to keep casting the spell all that much. And then we'll check out this room, and then we'll go ahead and deal with the Chamber of Bone over there. So I guess, yep, there's a couple more of them. I'll just go ahead and spray the doorway here with lightning and kill them. There we go, got another one. Alright, there's still another. Missed on that one, but we hit on that one, so we're bound to go ahead and miss one or two shots eventually, so we just have to kind of keep on plugging in there with the lightning. Maybe standing here is better than just waiting for them to come to us. Oh, warp. Maybe that'll give me some money for selling, and maybe that one too. We're getting some pretty decent scrolls here. I'm mainly just taking them along to sell them. Can be some decent money. Book of Holy Bolt, worth learning, especially with a Chamber of Bone coming up here that I imagine will... Sounds like it's going to have a bunch of skeletons in there, if the Chamber of Bone, the name is any indication. And then after we read this book, I guess, which will probably be related to the Chamber of Bone, then we'll go back to town, sell some stuff, and I guess talk to people about the Chamber of Bone, and in particular Cain, to see if he knows anything about it.
Beyond the Hall of Heroes lies the Chamber of Bone. Eternal death awaits any who would seek to steal the treasure secured within this room. So speaks the Lord of Terror, and so it is written.
Alright, so there's another screen shake effect, which I thought would be gone from this Let's Play after dealing with the infestation of the worms quest, and all of the walls kind of exploding and screen shaking and all that action going on there, but I'm not sure if that screen shake was in the original game with this Chamber of Bone part. I don't quite remember that in the original game. I think that might be the Belzebub mod implementation there. So I don't know if that's the way that the devs originally intended the game to be, but I mean, it is an addition. It's kind of a jarring addition to have to deal with that, because it shakes the screen so much instead of a little. You know, a small little shake like the Diablo 2 had in some instances. You know, I could probably handle that, but... And I do think that in some select portions there was some bits of screen shake. I think... I'm not sure if Diablo 1 had any screen shaking effects. I know that Diablo 2 had a couple of them at some key moments, but don't remember it from Diablo 1 in the original game.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
Let's identify all those real quick, and then we'll talk to him about the Chamber of Bone. Alright, so that's actually a decent cap if you're a warrior, but I don't think that we really want that. We don't want to get hit very often, if at all. And the rest of these are just selling fodder, so let's go ahead and sell these real quick.
Well, what can I do for you?
Alright, oh, I can't sell that to him. I just gotta sell the regular gear here. There we go. Nothing in particular that he's selling that I want. And we're going to be sticking with Arcane's Valor for quite a while, if not for the rest of the game here. So get used to this look on my Sorcerer here, because that might be sticking for the rest of the game. Maybe there might be some high quality armor in the late game that we might find that's better than Arcane's Valor, maybe a unique item later on in the game.
I sense a soul in search of answers.
But it's certainly not a guarantee that you're going to come across better gear than Arcane's Valor for a Sorcerer anyway. So I guess these scrolls are worth a little bit of money, but not very much. So it may not be worth taking them along next time for looting. We'll just stick to magic items, I guess, that are decent quality. Nothing here that I really care about. Stone Curse is interesting. Resurrect would be good, maybe in multiplayer if you need to resurrect fallen allies, I guess, but in a tabletop setting, having a resurrection spell on a magic item would be much, much better, because usually resurrection magic in a tabletop game is going to be much more costly to cast. And if you can cast it through a magic item, then you forgo some of the other requirements, such as gold pieces that needed to buy components for spells and stuff, and all that nonsense that's not really part of video games all that much from what I can tell, except for maybe Pathfinder Kingmaker, which I'm playing through. So unless a video game is like a one-to-one comparison or a one-to-one translation of the tabletop rules, then usually you don't have to fiddle around with things like spell components and such to be able to cast spells. You can just usually cast them and use like mana or spell points to cast them. Yeah, mana, spell points, or spell slots, like in Dungeons & Dragons, those are usually the ways that you cast spells, and it's nice when you don't have to fiddle around with spell components to cast things. Alright, now let's start off with Cain and talk about the Chamber of Bone.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen. A book that speaks of a chamber of human bones? Well, a chamber of bone is mentioned in certain archaic writings that I studied in the libraries of the East. These tomes inferred that when the lords of the underworld desired to protect great treasures, they would create domains where those who died in the attempt to steal that treasure would be forever bound to defend it. A twisted, but strangely fitting end.
That's actually interesting. So, I guess the Chamber of Bone exists because there were individuals that wanted to go and steal treasures from demons and evil beings, and as sort of like a petty form of revenge, I guess, they wanted to go ahead and seal their souls and existence to guarding the treasures that they tried to steal, and so they create chambers for those, and then they grow their amounts of guards guarding their treasures from people that try and get in there. So unless you're exceedingly powerful and manage not to fall prey to that, then you end up becoming another one of them, as it were.
This sounds like a very dangerous place. If you venture there, please take great care.
Well, I thank you for your words of wisdom. I guess it's not really words of wisdom, it's more like encouragement and please don't die on me.
Greetings, good master. Welcome to the Tavern of the Rising Sun. I am afraid that I don't know anything about that, good master. Cain has many books that may be of some help.
Okay, so someone can't usually tell you about something, though. Usually, if they don't know anything about a subject, they'll usually either refer you to Cain to talk to about it, or maybe Adria in some cases they might refer you to. Griswold might occasionally know something as well, depending on the quest or the information that you want, but...
Well, what can I do for you? No, nothing of this place. But you may try asking Cain. He talks about many things, and we're not surprised maybe he had some answers to your question.
And I apologize for the gas if you heard that. Sometimes I just deal with gas throughout the day, and so I try and eat and drink acidic things like orange juice or apples and stuff to try and deal with it before a Let's Playing session, but sometimes it does crop up from time to time, so I apologize if you get that in the audio.
How may I serve you? I am afraid that I haven't heard anything about that. Perhaps Cain the storyteller could be of some help.
Yeah, let's see what the greedy wort has to say about it.
Psst, over here. A vast and mysterious treasure, you say? Maybe I could be interested in picking up a few things from you. Or better yet, don't you need some rare and expensive supplies to get you through this ordeal?
Yep, I'm not falling for your, shall we say, business sense. Trying to encourage you to go ahead and buy really expensive, cool stuff to get you through the dungeon.
Can't a fellow drink in peace?
You can drink in peace after I ask you about the Chamber of Bone.
Okay, so listen. There's this Chamber of Wood, see? And his wife, you know, her, tells the tree, because you got away. Then I says that might work against him, but if you think I'm gonna pay for this, yeah!
Random, as always, Farnham. You never fail to amaze. And then I guess last but not least, we're going to talk to Adria to see if she knows anything about it. Maybe she might know about the sort of curse of people that get caught up in that place after they die.
I sense a soul in search of answers. You will become an eternal servant of the Dark Lords should you perish within this cursed domain. Enter the Chamber of Bone at your own peril.
Alright. Points well taken from Kane and Adria, who have basically said that anyone who dies trying to get to the treasures within a Chamber of Bone or similar, you'll end up becoming an undead to protect the treasures for eternity or until some other fateful adventurer comes across it and manages to defeat you, I guess. So basically, if we die in here, we'd have to wait for an adventurer as powerful or more powerful than ourselves to come in, defeat us while we're guarding this treasure we're trying to take, or at least trying to explore in here. And yeah, that would be a very interesting existence, I would say. But not a very good one, of course. So I guess there's just more of the same over here. I have to make sure I don't click on the walls to fail to retreat here. The walls are so thick around here that I have to worry about clicking into them by accident. And then having my character just stand still like an idiot. And it looks like we have more horned demons like that we dealt with during the Arcane's Valor quest. I'm going to put my inventory up here in case I want to use a mana potion in the heat of battle here. Come to Papa, here we go. Oh, I killed him while I was charging. That's pretty cool, actually, that I was able to do that. Killed him mid-charge and prevented him from smashing me in the face. That's what I call a 2-for-1 special. Okay, let's take care of them. Running a bit low on mana, so we need to refresh here. Got him. I like it when I can get the invisible creatures by just, either by pure luck and chance or just by the infinite wisdom and insight of predicting their movements. Let's see if there's any enemies to deal with on this side of the wall. Oh, there's a horned demon that tried to crush me, but he just missed terribly. Unfortunately for him, he missed his one chance, the moment of surprise, and failed to execute. Alright, so he hit us, but he didn't hit us for very much. And they're all trying to charge at me unsuccessfully. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, none of those demons were really able to make much of a dent in us. You know, it's kind of weird. Like it's, you know, mind-crippling pain or something like that, and it doesn't really affect your health bar that much, I guess, so. Go too close to the fire and it's like, you know. Let's take care of enemies that are going to stream through the door here, I guess. That's very convenient as a way to restore my mana. Since I've been kind of spamming lightning here a little bit. There we go. Oh, I don't want to pick that up because I don't plan on selling it. Or I don't think I'm going to be able to sell it for very much, so I'm just going to leave it there. Ooh, what's this? Stone Curse Scroll might be worth taking along. We'll take care of the lever. There we go. So green usually means a step above unique items, I guess. I don't know if I've come across a green colored item in this game before. I might have at one point, but I don't remember it all that well, so I'd have to go back and go through the episodes. My memory's a bit fuzzy if I've come across this, but in Diablo 2, the green colored items tend to mean set items, so you build a set of items together, which can be 3 items, 4 items, etc., depending on how many pieces that you need of gear. And then as you collect more set items, then you can go ahead and get unique bonuses from it. So I assume that we have a set item in our possession, and so that might be something that goes into our stash, even though we may never use it, but it might be interesting nonetheless. Unique item amulet here. So we're making some, we're getting some good loot out of this, for sure. Alright, so let's see about gold. Lots of gold. Very good. Always nice. Put the amulet over there, and a small axe. Axe. Large axe. Lots of axes. A ring. Unique item, hunter's bow. Alright, so we ended up getting a good bit of magic items in here so far. We haven't even gotten to this room over here, that one.
I have no room.
Any invisible dudes in here, they're gonna come out and get me? I guess not. So I guess we'll go with the club, and then we'll go back to town real quick here, sell our stuff, have Cain identify it, since that's probably pretty fun for him to be able to identify all this stuff for us. Be like, ooh, that's a nice thing you got there. Man, I could never have gotten all this stuff myself. Man, you are quite an adventurer. And now we'll level up while we are in town and away from all the action distracting us. So, more magic, a bit of strength and vitality for, again, more gear and just extra health to make sure that we don't die.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
Okay, and as I surmised, the saber that we found is a set item, so it comes as part of a set. We don't know what the other items are. I know for Diablo 2, you know what they are because, well, there's wikis and information on Diablo 2 ad nauseum that basically lets you know what all of the set items are and what their bonuses are individually, and then what the bonuses are from having more items in the set. So, Angelic Sickle, interesting. Dual Axe. And we'll just go through these things since I don't know if I'm going to use them. Chaos Heart. That might be something we use. Well then, 28 mana, 4 strength, 5 vitality. That is way better than what we have. We are definitely going to equip this. Way more mana, more strength for gear, and then vitality for survivability. That is wonderful to have. And so we don't know what these set item bonuses are until we have more of them, but for this particular one, these are the individual properties that it has. So it does a lot of damage against undead, which in this game it does have merit, even though Diablo isn't like top-end enemies may or may not be undead. I'm not exactly sure what creatures other than skeletons and zombies qualify as undead in this game. Because later in the game it's hard to know what qualifies for undead and what doesn't, so it's kind of hard to know how good that this is going to be in the late game, but interesting item nonetheless, so we'll put it in our stash here. We don't yet have enough magic power for Firebolt, so we're going to have to wait one more level for that one.
Whoa, what can I do for you?
And we'll go ahead and sell all of these. Several cursed items that aren't really going to do much anyway, so we'll just get them off of our hands. And then Scrolls of Stone Curse, 200 gold. That's actually not bad, especially since you don't have to spend any money identifying it from Cain. In the second game, you don't have to worry so much about that and the cost of identifying items in the early games, so...
I sense a soul in search of answers.
Nothing here that I really care about, so... Lightning Wall, that's a new one. We'll have to find a book of that sometime soon and see how that works. Lightning Wall is... I don't believe that it was in the original game. You had other lightning spells besides lightning, of course, lightning, chain lightning. And then there's a spell called Nova, which is like a circular lightning type spell that surrounds you. And so you cast a spell and then you have a sphere of lightning that erupts from you and goes in all directions, basically. Book of Town Portal we don't need. I'm not sure if we need another Book of Firebolt. We'll probably have more chances at Firebolt. We already have the one in our stash, so... The one Book of Firebolt in our stash is probably going to be plenty for a while. Alright, so we dealt with all those items and we found a pretty neat amulet. Unique item amulet from all the loot. Oh, and a ring. A ring that I didn't notice before, so that's quite nice. Alright, so there's only one lane left to go, and let's see what's in this. Whoa, boy! That is a lot of skeletons. Yeah, I forgot that I have a setting in place that basically has you go ahead and open doors as you walk into them. Like, open them automatically when you walk in through them. So I tried walking through the door, I opened it, and then suddenly there's a bunch of skeletons right on top of me. I'm like, oh, Nelly. Yeah, and we have invisible dudes as well to contend with, so... Alright, Scroll of Lightning, not too valuable to sell, so we'll leave those behind. Scrolls of Stone Curse, I think, are 200 gold, so those would be worth taking along. Oh, take care of him. More invisible dudes to deal with. Basically, I'm just doing that to see if there's any more invisible dudes that are going to get caught in my lightning before they close in on us. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're all dead. You get a death, you get a death, you get a death, you all get a death. There you go. Oh, look out. We don't want to get caught over here. Alright, so we're a bit surrounded here, but we're going to have to work our way and double back. I just wanted to get out of the way of the big guy there. Oh, that kind of hurt a little bit, but we're still doing okay. He's going to try charging us a lot, so we're going to have to try and juke and jive a little bit. I don't know if he has regenerating health or not, but hopefully he doesn't. He is one tough son of a bitch, though. Man, that took a lot of lightning to kill him. More unseen enemies here. It's interesting how they're called like unseen and hidden and things like that for their monster names when they just go invisible like that. Or at least the monsters that go invisible, they're called like unseen or hidden or things like that. Or phantoms or whatever you want to call them. Things that disappear. Go ahead and heal up, and let's see what we have left over from the pack. Oh, we have a ring over there that I didn't notice before. Yeah, after killing all these skeletons and stuff, sometimes loot just pops out everywhere because they're so stacked up in the middle here. And so the loot has to go somewhere because there's so many spots taken up by skeletons, and so it just pops out in random spots a little bit. Any other enemies to deal with? Anything at all? No. Okay. Let's read this ancient tome then. And finish the Chamber of Bone. Nice. And the ancient tome can be clicked again, but it does nothing. But what we got there was, as you can see, the triple dragon heads there is a spell. And it's a spell called Guardian. So you summon like a sort of triple dragon head or whatever it is. And you summon it like over there. And then if there's enemies, it'll shoot just fire at them. So what you can do is you can open up a door. You can spam a couple of guardians in a room. And then you can walk away and have the guardians do all the work while you run away to a safe distance. So it's a way to deal with some enemies that are strong. And you don't want to have to worry about getting smacked by like archers and stuff like that. Because the little dragon heads that you summon, they can't be targeted or attacked by enemies to kill them. So as long as the heads are up, they'll just go ahead and fire away without any worry of being attacked right back. So now let's go ahead and see if we want to put that in a certain thing here. I don't know if Holy Bolt's going to be necessary anymore. We have options to go ahead and deal with many undead now, so let's do Guardian as 4 instead of the Holy Bolt. Firewall can be F5, Circle of Ice can be F6. I haven't really tried Circle of Ice yet because lightning is so potent. But I'll show you how Guardian works because we already killed all the enemies in that room before clicking on that little ancient scroll or whatever. So what the ancient scroll is supposed to do is supposed to help you in combat if you activate it while the enemies are still in the room. So if you run in there and manage to not get just surrounded and mauled by the enemies, then that little circle of dragon heads or whatever, that triple dragon heads, will basically go ahead and start shooting firebolts at them. So that's what it does. It shoots little firebolts at enemies, and it does it very effectively, I might add. So, very useful for dealing with mobs of ranged enemies that are really getting on your nerves. Because it allows you to cast a spell through a door, or through a long hallway or something, and then it just fires off firebolts at them, and then you can run away to a safe spot and not get hit down by them anymore. Let's do this. There we go. That's just a regular cap, so we're going to go ahead and forego that and look for better things here. That goes back up to level 5. And we're at level 6, so we're going to need to find the entrance for level 7, and hopefully we're going to explore the rest of this level of the dungeon and see if we can find a waypoint in here. I think maybe it's like every other level that you have like a waypoint of some kind to work with, but we'll see. We have another bookcase over there. Just go ahead and spray some lightning through the door here, and they should be charged up mincemeat. So yeah, mundane items I'm just going to leave behind, really. Not much point in having them. Okay, can I hit him now? There we go. Don't know if there's a unique creature over there or not. I don't know if that's a torch or a unique creature to contend with. We'll find out soon. Sometimes I can mistake torches for unique creatures. Yep, it's just a torch. Okay, well, that's okay. Let's go ahead and drink some of that. Get a little bit of that going as well. Make sure we have full health in case we get hit by a bunch of ranged enemies. Ranged enemies are definitely less annoying in Diablo 2 than they are in Diablo 1, where you only have a limited amount of movement speed and the ability to maneuver and dodge ranged attacks and spells and things like that, so there we go. On the other hand, there are some enemies that just remain stationary in this game, like those skeleton archers, so if you can aim your spell or your attack with your bow or something like that, then you can sort of whittle them down and kill them. So. There we go. So we have some magic leather armor and a magic leather or large shield from that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the rest of that. Is there anything else over here? Some barrels, I guess. Alright then. Alright, so we're going to go back to town then and restore our mana as well as get rid of all those items and sell them all. And again, the reason I do this is just because, well, one, because our movement speed is faster in town. It doesn't take too long to do this compared to the original game.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
And the other reason is because since we can buy spell books to add spells to our spell book, I guess, our book of spells, since we can do that in this game, it's a good idea to try and sell everything that you can, and then you can buy extra spell books that you need. Alright, so that's a bummer. That's also kind of a bummer. We're not really making much money from all this, but that's pretty good armor, but Arcane's Valor is way better. Ooh! That's actually really good for us, but we already have something that's really good here with just more mana in general. Plus 28 mana, quite good, so we're just going to stick with the one that we have, but that is a very good amulet for us. It would be terrible for a warrior or a rogue, obviously, but for a sorcerer, that's excellent. So none of these things are going to be worth anything to me, unfortunately. That would be really good for us, but we just found this, and 28 mana is just way too good to pass up on, so...
What ails you, my friend?
I guess I don't really need more healing potions here. I'll probably end up finding more. Might grab another mana potion or two, though, before heading back here.
I sense a soul in search of answers.
Nothing important there. Oh, Book of Lightning. That is really good. We want that. Lightning is our bread and butter, so we definitely want as much of that as we can get. Stone Curse, Heal Other, all these other things that I'm not really keen on right now. And then I'm going to go ahead and read the Lightning book when I get back in here and use it to restore some of my mana, because every time that you read a spell book, it seems that it goes ahead and restores some of your mana back, so I'm going to use it as a semi-potion effect here. Alright, we have another spell book in there, so let's see what this is. So we'll spray lightning in here, kill everybody. Maim and murder all the goat demons. Town portal, don't care about that. Book of Flash, well, I don't know. I guess maybe Flash might sell for something compared to a magic item, and I don't have to identify it with gold to be able to sell it, so we'll just go ahead and, I guess, take it back to town and sell it. Kind of a disappointing spell book, or spell tome there, but Tome of Magic spell tome. A little disappointing, but you know, you're not going to win them all, so that's the way of loot RPGs, action RPGs that are heavy on loot. Some of the loot's just going to kind of suck for you, so. Alright, so another unique item here. Not bad. Again, most of these unique items we're probably not going to use unless it's a ring or an amulet. Which one to go through first? Let's go through this spot first. Okay, that was not a good idea to go right through there. Kill the invisible dude again. Any more invisible dudes in here? And as you can see, my mana was restored by that. Another invisible dude, there we go. Alright, oh, there's a chest over there, and I guess there's a barrel over here too. Nothing good in it though. Just lots of explosions and things trying to kill us again. What else is new? Mana potion, not bad. We'll keep that around. Guess that's just another torch down there. Golden armor, not very good, so we're just going to pass on that. In some games, usually taking mundane armor can be very good as far as selling value. I know that Diablo 2, there's some... the higher tiers of mundane armor still sell for a pretty good amount, even if it's not magical or enchanted or anything like that. And then in the Might and Magic games, like Might and Magic 6 and Might and Magic 7, better forms of armor, even if they're mundane armor, can also sell for a pretty good amount in those games too, and are worth the inventory space that they take up in your party's inventory. So, and I guess similarly in Baldur's Gate, from what I remember, which I might get to that Let's Play eventually, Baldur's Gate and similar video games, armor tends to also have the highest sell value of any items you can get. So in other games, armor, great sell value and worth keeping around. In this game, most mundane items not really worth keeping around for selling. I guess that's a dead end, if I ever saw one. Looks like we have this area to deal with, and then that should be the rest of this level of the dungeon. And we have a waypoint over there. That's wonderful. Most excellent. My keen eyes have noticed that. Oh, and we have immune to lightning and magic. Well, that's not good. We have to switch to Firebolt here, or Holy Bolt. Immune to fire and magic? I thought they were immune to lightning and magic. Okay, this is not a good spot to be. We don't want to get stuck in there. Okay, so we might need to switch to Holy Bolt for this. Let's just go around in circles. Holy Bolt, there we go. You need the fire, lightning, and magic. Okay, so you definitely need Holy Bolt or physical attacks to deal with these guys. And that was interesting. So if you're close to them when they die, they are just going to try and murder you as an act of, like, kamikaze, I guess, so... So I'm glad that I remembered to use Holy Bolt there, because otherwise that might have given us some trouble there. So I guess if I remember their resistances and immunities correctly, I don't think that I saw, at least I don't believe that I saw cold on there as an immunity, so I also maybe could have used one of my cold spells to try and deal with them, but Holy Bolt's probably better and easier to remember on the spot, so I guess theoretically for that encounter we could have switched to our Frost Shard spell or something like that. There is a unique creature over there, I think. Is there? Nope, it's just the... I guess it's just the shiftiness of the map there to make the torch look like a unique creature's wandering around over there. Oh boy, there's more of them. I don't like this. I don't like it one bit, but we're going to Holy Bolt them again. I guess maybe the Holy Bolt spell is like a hard counter to them and it automatically kills them, I guess. So maybe that's the Sorcerer's way to go ahead and deal with them, whereas a rogue can hit them with arrows and then a warrior can bash them in with a sword or whatever it is that they want to use, so... Hopefully we don't need Holy Bolt anymore. I hope that's all of them. I think we've taken out like 4 of them so far. I hope there's not any more. Are there any more of them that I have to deal with now? Dealt with 4 unique skeleton guys that really hated my guts and were trying to take me down with them when they died. They really hit like a truck too, so I'm glad I have Arcane's Valor and all these extra hit point boosts on me. Alright, now we're making some headway here. Come on, get him. There we go. Sometimes lightning does not aim very well on the grid when you're trying to aim it diagonally. Any more invisible dudes to contend with? No, I don't think so. Okay. Alright, so we've dealt with them. Now let's go ahead and explore this northwest part of the dungeon here, I guess, and that should be the last part of it. And then we can get that waypoint as well. In fact, let's just go and do that now. I don't want to forget about the waypoint before going down to the next level of the dungeon. And while we're at it, let's go into town here and get our stuff identified and dealt with.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
Speed dial through those. That's a pretty good shield for a warrior if someone got that. Book of Flash, don't care about that. I'll just sell it. Again, not terrible items here, but I mean, +2 to all attributes and then an additional +4 to dexterity on top of that. Not bad. I mean, a rogue could probably make good use of that one, but again, those are just items that I don't really plan on using, so
Whoa, what can I do for you?
Let's go ahead and give all those to you, and then we'll go down to Adria and take care of some of this other stuff. Now, it is possible that I could get like a magic boosting item, like a magic attribute boosting item here, and then put it in my stash, so that way I could go ahead and like learn spell books from that. Like I could use tomes with my higher magic rating that I have temporarily when I equip an item, and then use that to learn spellbooks easier if I don't have the magic yet, but with an item I could. In Diablo 2 that's more viable, and here it's just kind of tedious to keep items for that set purpose. So I tend to just pass them up because you're going to level up again some point anyway to be able to read that Tome of Magic and level up your spell. So like for example, I could buy the Staff of the Mind and then equip it, and then try and you know, use that Firebolt tome that I have to level up Firebolt again, since I'm very close to getting the magic needed for it. Same with Charged Bolt there. But I'm not going to go ahead and do that. I don't really need to do that. I'll eventually get the level ups that I need for it. I guess I'll go ahead and just keep those. Yeah, if we get a Tome of Lightning Bolt or a Tome of Guardian of some kind. Tome of Lightning Bolt or Tome of Guardian are the two ones that I probably want the most. And if there's any other sort of like creature summoning type spells that might be in the Belzebub mod that were added in, aside from the one very late game summoning spell, then that might be cool to have too. And I like that your gold is all in one stack here, and it doesn't take up so much inventory space if you have like numerous amounts of gold, like just stupendous amounts of gold. So having the gold take up only one inventory slot is really refreshing compared to the old game, where in the original game I think it was 5,000 gold pieces per one inventory slot to have in a stack. And then you would have to drop those gold pieces in town, in like the middle of town, and drop them on the ground and leave them there so that we could pick them up later if you wanted to buy something expensive. Which would usually only be the case like buying something from Adria, like spellbooks or a really good staff of some kind. So yeah, there are definitely a lot of conveniences in the Belzebub mod. You know, gold in the inventory only taking up one slot. Getting a stash, private stash to put items in, so you don't have to also throw those on the ground like you did with gold in the original game. So you just have a stash now, like Diablo 2 does, and then you don't have to throw items on the ground or gold on the ground in town anymore, and then pick them back up and use that as your bank storage. Which, I mean, it's kind of humorous to just see the town in the late stages of the game just laid out with gold, and then you have to avoid clicking on it when you're going around town to talk to people and whatever, but On the other hand, it's nice that you don't have to do that anymore every single time. And then that little trap that we encountered right there, that is the flash spell that I talked about being kind of like a useless form of lightning damage, I guess, because it only affects enemies that are next to you. So, as a sorcerer, it's not a wise approach to get right next to all the enemies, then cast flash just to have the spell work. So, it's kind of useless for a sorcerer, and maybe in some tabletop games where you can kind of armor class tank to make it hard for people to hit you in the first place, then maybe you could use a spell like that, since it's hard for them to even hit you, but in this game it's hard to really accomplish that, so flash is kind of a pointless spell to have. So it's more there just for completionist's sake. It's really a useless spell in my experience. Maybe someone else out there has had more success with it. But ranged spells are king in this game. You don't want the melee spells quite as much, like Inferno and things like that. They do not tend to do as well in this game. So like short staff of Inferno over there, that staff can just take Inferno and shove it because it's just not a very good spell in this game. Now obviously for enemies, it's definitely a good spell for them to use on you because you don't have like any inherent resistances to like fire and things like that, and they might be melee type enemies in the first place, so they might cast Inferno, but then they'll also want to close the distance in on you and make melee attacks and things like that. So for enemies, it's definitely a good spell, but for you as a sorcerer, not a good spell because you do not want to be in melee range. So it's like if you've ever heard the term, the spell is better for NPCs and big bad guys than it is for player characters, like in tabletop, like Dungeons and Dragons being the big example. Flash and Inferno are two such spells where they're much better for enemies and big bad guys than they are for player characters, because you have to be in melee range to cast them, and that's usually better for big bad guys that are really durable or can already make good melee attacks compared to you. So alright, so let's see, there's one more room and then we can go down to level 7 here. Thankfully this level of the dungeon has gone by a bit faster than the others, even though we did do the Chamber of Bone. It didn't really take all that long to do it. It wasn't a very long encounter, and we didn't have... I mean, we had the Horned Demon boss enemy, but it wasn't too lengthy, not too much strategy to dealing with them. Just kind of run away and then pick away at them as you avoid their charges, I guess. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and heal ourselves up before going down to the next level here. And I'll go ahead and continue to do level 7 here. We have, I think we have enough time in this episode to go ahead and do level 7. And plus, we already got the waypoint, I think it was over here on the mini-map. So let's go down to level 7 and see what we find down here. I think we're making pretty good time here, so level 7 hopefully doesn't take us too long either. The coloration on the walls does look slightly different. It looks like more of a reddish, like a red sort of tone on it, like red coloration, rust or something like that. Oh shoot, we don't want to go right through there and just waltz on in. I need to remember that. At least I can shoot through the staircase here. So yeah, what I did, don't do what I just did. You usually want to open the door first before just walking in, unless you're like a warrior. And even then, if you are a warrior, you don't usually just want to waltz on into the room willy-nilly. Because then if you have a bunch of archers that are wearing you down, then that's usually not a good strategy. Now, granted, I'm probably going to make the same mistake again because you have the walk through doors option turned on, so I might make that mistake again, but... Alright. Oh, and I did it again. I walked right through the door. Okay, well, this area is more spacious, though, so... If it's a more spacious looking area, it's not likely you're going to get surrounded by enemies at first glance, so... Get some of these guys caught in our lightning. Oh, familiar. Oh, interesting. I mean, yeah, they're technically demons, but familiars are also, like, common in sort of, fantasy-type settings. Like, you summon a familiar, and it's sort of like your, you know, sort of like a semi-companion, I guess. Whereas in this game, they're just demons, and evil demons that are trying to kill you at that, so... Probably would be more appropriate to call them, like, imps or something like that. Or some other kind of demonic name that's probably, like... Like, there's probably some, like, Latin terms out there, or some ancient languages that all the mythology is based off of, or something like that, where they could call them some demon name, but... Not sure if calling them a familiar is most appropriate. Because they don't really seem like a familiar. They're usually... The context is usually different if you have a familiar with you, so... Alright, looks like that's a dead end. No invisible enemies either. We have a tome over there, so we'll go ahead and take a look at that once we deal with the enemies that are sure to come. Yep, there they go. And we were able to deftly avoid the trap as well. That's always nice. Let's just aim at this spot and then hope that they run into my lightning here. Alright, so they're not falling for my trap here. I guess maybe I killed a lot of them. Whoa, that's a new one. So yeah, for what I remember, there were no goat demon enemies in the original game that charged at you. Usually that was reserved to the horned demons that we fought in the Chamber of Bone or in the Arcane's Valor quest. Usually those are the only enemies that will charge at you, from what I understand, in the original game, but in this game I guess they function a little bit differently. For the goat demons, I guess we now have a kind of goat demon here that are powerful enough where they can charge at you like an actual mountain goat could, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that and not get ourselves caught unawares now that we know that. So we stay close to this edge of the corner here, then it could prevent some of those enemies from being able to just charge at us since they're already close by. So I assume if they get close enough, they're not going to try and charge at you, because then they're not going to be charging much distance to begin with, so... There's that guy. Him, or her, whatever the familiar is. And then, let's see. Oh, excuse me, more gas going. I guess, though, as you're exploring these dungeons, I guess gas would be the least of your worries, so... I do apologize if I occasionally, burp or have a influx of gas going on. Alright, so we want to get to that spell book, and then we'll go ahead and look over that book, the lore book over there that we were dealing with, or looking at. Take the mana potion, restore the mana, restore the balance in our mana. Alright, now here's the door for that area, and I guess we have another area over here as well. We got a couple of demons, the goat variety and then of the ugly variety. I guess both of them could also be of the ugly variety. And what's over here? More demons. And they do not stand a chance against lightning, I guess. So we're just going to keep on plugging away at them. And I guess we'll kind of deal with this area too while we're at it. Alright, so dead end here, but at least we explore that, and now we can go take a look at the knowledge tome over here, and also we can get the bookcase over here too real quick. Bookcases are interesting, at least for sorcerers, so we definitely want to explore all of these and find out what's over there. Alright, so more of these dudes to deal with. Yeah, so they were dealing a bit of damage to us, but we can make quick work of them if we can target them down here. There's just a whole bunch of them, I guess, and so they were all able to get free shots on me. Scroll of Identify, not really valuable. Saves us 100 gold, but it's just not worth our time. Stone Curse is at least worth our while enough with 200 GP. Circle of Ice, I guess I'll learn that. Get our mana back at the very least. Don't know if I'm going to use Circle of Ice, but I don't tend to use certain spells quite as much, and I just kind of forget about them in my quick spell slots. So in Diablo 2 I probably would remember to use them and cycle through them with the mouse wheel, but because I have to manually hit the spell slot key or the quick slot key for that in this game, it's just kind of hard to remember those secondary spells. Now we have the Book of the Blind. Let's see what this is.
I can see what you see not. Vision milky, then eyes rot. When you turn, they will be gone, whispering their hidden song. Then you see what cannot be. Shadows move where light should be. Out of darkness, out of mind, cast down into the halls of the blind.
So that's actually kind of interesting. When I was replaying the original version of this game, just kind of like, you know, I guess it's not really off camera or anything like that, but when I first purchased this game on GOG, Good Old Games, where I bought the game, and the link that I have in the video description for buying the game, in the original version of the game, if I remember correctly, there's a different voice actor for this Book of the Blind in the original release of the game, so maybe there was an unused voice line that didn't make it, or maybe they had to choose between two voice lines or two voice actors and they chose a different one. So again, I could be remembering things incorrectly, but I think that the original game did have a different voice actor that did Book of the Blind here with those with that lore book there. I don't know, I'll have to go ahead and check that, because like I can still play the original version of the game here, and I do have a save file for that, I think, since the Belzebub mod uses the Belzebub mod uses a different executable, and it doesn't replace your original game, so it's not really a total conversion mod in that sense. So you can still play the original version without it being overwritten by the mod, which is actually quite nice. So you can switch between the original version and the Belzebub mod version. But yeah, I'm pretty certain that the voice actor for that was different in the original game, so someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Alright. Halls of the Blind. So I guess it just kind of indicates with the, it just sort of indicates with the text there from the lore book that there are going to be invisible guys here that you can't see, and therefore Halls of the Blind. So I guess I don't know if these creatures are blind and they like I don't know if these creatures are blind themselves and they don't really see, but they can go invisible and they rely on some other sense like blind sight or some other kind of sense like Daredevil does, like the superhero Daredevil. Not exactly the best movie, but the superpower was pretty cool in the way that they could see, if anyone is familiar with that. So there's sort of like, I don't know if there's like brain waves or some other kind of sense that they rely on to sense people. At least that's what the book indicated to us, is that maybe there's people that just can't see, Halls of the Blind. They're invisible to people, and they're maybe invisible to themselves because they're blind and they can't see themselves. I don't know. So again, I guess it has kind of a, you know, poetic kind of meaning with that book there. And you know what? Before I go, before I complete the rest of this quest, let's go back into town and see what Cain has to say about the Halls of the Blind, because you definitely like to, or I definitely like to go and explore all the dialogue in the game for an RPG and see what everyone has to say about it in regards to like quests and stuff if I can. So let's go and talk to Cain about this before we complete it. I didn't do it for some of the other quests before, so I want to go and do it now if I can remember to.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen. You recite an interesting rhyme written in a style that reminds me of other works. Let me think now. What was it? Darkness shrouds the hidden, eyes glowing unseen, with only the sounds of razor claws briefly scraping to torment those poor souls who have been made sightless for all eternity. The prison for those so damned is named the Halls of the Blind.
So yeah, I guess as I surmised, I guess the people that are trapped in there are the spirits or the souls or whatever that are manifested, I guess, in those bodies or whatever you want to call it. I guess they're blind and they can't really see, and maybe they have some other sense to where they can see other creatures, but because they don't have sight, like if you looked in the mirror, you couldn't end up seeing yourself because you can't even see the mirror, so...
Well, what can I do for you? I'm afraid that I've neither heard nor seen a place that matches your vivid description, my friend. Perhaps Cain the storyteller could be of some help.
And I guess while we're here, we'll take care of these items.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
Well, what can I do for you?
Get rid of these. I don't really care what they give. They're not going to be good enough to use, I suppose. So let's just get rid of them.
Greetings, good master. Welcome to the Tavern of the Rising Sun. I never much cared for poetry. Occasionally I had calls to hire minstrels when the inn was doing well, but that seems like such a long time ago now. What? Oh yes, well, I suppose you could see what someone else knows.
So I guess poetry, not really Ogden's thing, so I guess we'll have to talk to someone else about poetry.
This does seem familiar somehow. I seem to recall reading something very much like that poem while researching the history of demonic afflictions. It spoke of a place of great evil that... Wait, you're not going there, are you?
Well, don't leave me hanging. You know, it's like you're getting ready to tell me about the place, and then you kind of interrupt yourself there and try and be like, no, don't go there, it's too dangerous. Even though it's kind of my quest, but, you know, it's... I guess they could have elaborated more lore-wise, maybe with Pepin's medical knowledge, but I guess they just decided not to, so...
Good day. How may I serve you? If you have questions about blindness, you should talk to Pepin. I know that he gave my grandmother a potion that helped clear her vision, so maybe he can help you too.
I guess he did somewhat, but he did not really. He didn't really delve into what the Halls of the Blind is, or any information about it in particular?
Psst, over here. Let's see. Am I selling you something? No. Are you giving me money to tell you about this? No. Are you now leaving and going to talk to the storyteller who lives for this kind of thing? Yes.
Well, that's a way to be the most condescending brat ever made. Thanks, Wirt. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for berating us and berating Kane, who's like basically the granddaddy of all storytelling in this kind of universe. So let's thanks a lot. Maybe Farnham will be a bit more entertaining and not condescending like Wirt, our dear condescending brat over there.
Can't a fellow drink in peace? Oh, yeah. That's pretty funny, huh? Get it? Blind? Look here.
It's like random humor that you only find in certain varieties of humor. Like, whose line it is anyway? Well, there's a joke made up out of nothing and it somehow ends up funny just because of the execution. Like, whoever that voice actor was for Farnham, those recording sessions, like, he must have been cracking himself up or cracking up the voice directors that were working with him, because, like, how can you not laugh at that when he's in the middle of doing all that? Like,
I
that is
sense a
just...
soul in search of answers.
Farnham is something else, I'll give him that.
This is a place of great anguish and terror, and so serves its master well. Tread carefully, or you may yourself be staying much longer than you had anticipated.
Well, I don't plan on dying, not today, so... Ooh, Fireball. Fireball, alright, well... This is like, in other games at least, Fireball is like the granddaddy of offensive spells. You always want it. You want to lob that in there and then turn your enemies into ash. We will get it. It's not exactly as good as lightning, because at the very least lightning doesn't like self-harm if you're too close to enemies. And since it shoots through enemies, you can kill a line of enemies much easier with it. But in case we encounter enemies that are immune to lightning or something like that, then maybe Fireball could be helpful for that. I guess we'll do Fireball in place of Firewall, and then I don't think Circle of Ice is going to make the cut, so unless there's a very specific scenario, I don't think that Circle of Ice really makes the cut here for a spell. We could try it just to see what it does and see what it looks like in the game, but other than that, I don't know if we're going to actually use it. Okay, let's go back to the town portal then. Now that we've talked to everybody about the Halls of the Blind and talked to Kane about it, let's continue on here in our quest in the dungeon. So while we're at it, we're just going to go ahead and show people, I guess, what these spells do that we never really use, or what they look like when you cast them. So let's go ahead and cast this without the mini-map on. Looks the same as the healing spell, except you just try and target someone else, I guess, like in multiplayer or something. Maybe if you have a summoned creature, you could use Heal Other on it, but don't know how valuable that would be. So I forget what the Dark Pact spell does. So yeah, at least that's what the spell looks like. I'm not going to really worry about it anymore since I don't plan on using it. That's an interesting animation. I don't believe that was in the original game, so that's something new. I don't know if that's an original animation or if it's unused animation that was in the game's files that they didn't implement in time. I don't know if that's like original content that the mod has in it specifically. We've used telekinesis, so we know what that does and what it looks like. What's Inferno look like? As you can see here, Inferno is a close-range fire spell that you probably aren't going to use much, if at all. So we're going to skip on that and go with things like Fireball or Firebolt or Firewall. Fireball and Firewall kind of are pronounced much similar, especially for me in the way I talk, but so that's what those spells look like, and then we're going to go back to our trusty old lightning here. Or not charged bolt, lightning. There we go. And so I just want to show what some of the spells look like before we move on here, and just so people can know what they look like in execution, even though I won't use them. Now we gotta be extra careful for these invisible enemies that we're gonna encounter. Oh wow. We killed a couple of them, I think. See, I wanted to talk to people about Hall of the Blind before I cleared out Hall of the Blind, because I think for certain quests like this, once you clear out all of the enemies that are within this sort of area here, then the quest just goes ahead and ends, and you don't get to talk to people about it anymore. So, and you don't get the option, I guess, to talk to the townspeople about it after you complete it and you kill all of the enemies in here. So, I wanted to remember to do that before I cleared this area out. I'm pretty sure I'm hitting him, but I don't know, maybe he's immune to lightning, I guess, so we'll have to switch things up. Alright, so Firebolt hurts him. Ah, it's a unique creature, that's the reason. Alright, well that's, again, another new thing. I don't think that I could be misremembering, but I don't think that the original game had a unique creature for this quest line, for this side quest, so again, another nice wrinkle added in by the Belzebub mod. And again, anyone can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that this encounter and this like side quest, and then the Arcane's Valor side quest, I don't believe that you fought a unique creature as part of the encounter. I think it was lots of mundane enemies, and that was it. So getting an actual boss-like enemy or a unique creature to fight is definitely a new wrinkle. So, and especially for Arcane's Valor, getting a spellcaster to come after you was definitely something new that you don't encounter very much. So. Anyone home? Anyone home? I guess not. If they were here, then they would have showed up already, I think. And looks like we have some more magic items, I hope. Maybe just one here. And then, yeah, when we clear out the entire part of the encounter here in this area, then the quest disappears from our quest log, and so that's why I wanted to make the opportunity to go back to town real quick and talk to everybody about it, so that way I could get that background information here in the Let's Play. So, there we have it. Let's level up real quick, and now we can level up enough here to where we can go ahead and use that Firebolt tome. Firebolt. One that we have in our stash back at town, we can now go ahead and use that to level up Firebolt again to level 10, I think. Was a unique creature over there, some kind? Whoa, Nelly. That looks like a magic arrow, kind of like from a Diablo 2 animation, or an attack animation for a certain ability called Magic Arrow. So yeah, it looks like there are some sorts of like animations and some kinds of things like that which do come from Diablo 2, and some other things that might be original or unused material for the original game that was not implemented, so I don't know what the heck went on over there, but maybe the goat person just exploded when I killed them. Again, kamikaze enemies, which when I played Diablo 2, when you play in the higher difficulties, there are some kind of exploding kamikaze enemies in the game, but they tend to be pretty uncommon, I think. Spray some lightning bolts in there to deal with everybody. Spray a couple more in here, because why not? And then we want to kill the goat demons, because they're going to... They've shown the ability to charge at us in the past. I don't know if that was only because we were dealing with a unique creature that imparted them that ability by being close to them, like an aura type ability. They can... But, so I don't know, maybe that unique goat warrior that we were fighting ended up giving them the ability to charge at us. And that's why they were able to do it with the mundane creatures, because since then we have not seen them do it. And in the original game, the goat warrior people, goat demons, did not also do that either, so... Alright, any more goat demons in here to deal with? No. Scrolls I don't care about, and then... Book of Warp. Well, I'm not familiar with this spell, but I guess I'll learn it and see what it does. Let's see where it is at. Warp, magically nearest entrance. Okay, so that's not really useful, I guess. I mean, maybe if you want to go back to a waypoint, I guess, then maybe it might be useful, but it's a convenience spell that's not really much of a convenience, because, like, it's not like Town Portal where you just go straight back to town where you actually want to go most of the time. Like, I don't know, maybe if you explored a dungeon, I guess, or, I guess maybe if you're wanting to quick travel through a dungeon and go right to the closest staircase and teleport there when you enter a level of the dungeon, then maybe that's what it's for. So that way, if you have to retrace your steps when you come back to the game and reload it up, then maybe you don't have to do that quite as much if you just teleport to a staircase or whatever, but... But I don't know how the implementation of that spell really works, so I'm not going to really bother to find out, so... Alrighty then, well, let's see. We have a little bit to the south here, we have a door up there on the mini-map, and then a bit of area over here, I guess, to explore as well, so... Let's continue on, and see what we find. Probably nothing too much that's going to be grand, but... Okay. Maybe one more healing potion might be good here, and then we'll move these around a little bit. There's a chest back there. I'm not going to bother to go back and get it, though. There's probably nothing of note in there anyway. Maybe a bit of gold, and that's it. Some things just aren't really worth the bother at a certain point in RPGs. Like, they're not worth picking up. bookcase, however, ooh, Stone Curse. This is a very nice find. It would cost 12,000 gold to buy this in a shop, so we'll at least get that spell on our spell list here, and maybe later on, if we come across a unique creature, we can cast Stone Curse on that, and then we can just kill it to death with lightning or something like that. So I guess if you're facing a charging enemy that's like a unique creature, then Stone Curse can stop them from doing that, and then you can have them held in place, and then you can just go ahead and burst them down with damaging magic. Ah, jeez. Again, it's hard to shoot through a doorway here, so bear with me. Color me surprised that there's not like a bunch of archers that are sitting around waiting to shoot me to death. So I guess them opening up that door triggered a trap for once. Oh boy, that is a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage, man. So who's this hitting us? I don't know if he's immune to lightning or not, but we don't want any part of that. Let's go and evade him a little bit. Use a mana potion. So we took care of him. The other one is still roaming out there. Stuck on one of the walls, I think. What, did he get stuck in the halls of the blind? That's what it looks like. So let's heal ourselves, and then we're going to... Maybe this is a good spot for the Guardian spell, actually. So let's go ahead and switch to that. And pelt it with some firebolts here. There we go. That worked really well. So yeah, Guardian has its uses for dealing with unique creatures that are going to deal a lot of damage if they connect. But then you can cast Guardian, then run to a safe spot, and then let the Guardians do their work. So... and let's see what I missed in here. So we have that guy. Another demon. A couple of demons, actually. Yep, and there's Inferno for you. Again, it's an annoyance. Usually doesn't deal that much damage. There are some enemies that can use it pretty effectively, but you know, usually you just stay away from them enough that it's not an issue. Alright, there we go, playing just a slight bit of inventory Tetris here, nothing too major compared to other games. Diablo, I mean, obviously it's based on loot, it's an action RPG, so obviously loot's a big part of the game, but usually you don't have to play too much inventory Tetris compared to some other games. Compared to Diablo 2, for example, you usually have to pass up a bunch of mundane loot because everything in their mother in Diablo 2 drops loot, basically, so almost any creature that you can fight, and almost any creature that you find, drops some mundane loot a lot of the time, so... And in this game, mundane loot is a bit common too, but it's not as common that you deal with it, so... And in the original game, you didn't have respawning enemies, so you usually weren't overloaded with loot when you're going through the playthrough. Guess we'll just take the potion and use it now instead of later. And then I guess, I'm not sure how much more that we have to explore here, but we have a little bit more to do. And again with the traps. Again with the traps. They're just everywhere. And again, you know, traps are a part of many different kinds of RPGs. Except usually in other games, you can usually build a character that can deal with traps, or you can have one character in the party that can deal with traps, or you can usually maybe even bypass and avoid traps altogether in some cases, or you can, you know, usually you don't have to deal with them too much in most games, because you can usually have methods to deal with them, but in this game, not so much. Traps are just all around annoying in this game. They're annoying in this game and kind of non-existent in Diablo 2 from what I remember. So thankfully Diablo 2 not really... Diablo 2 does have traps, but they're really a non-factor really. So it's not too much of an annoyance to deal with in Diablo 2, especially since it's faster paced and you just move faster outright. So the one annoying thing with Diablo 2 compared to Diablo 1, however, is that you have a stamina system, so you can only run so much before your stamina runs out, and so early in the game that's kind of annoying. Later on you have items that might just boost your stamina and all that kind of stuff, and vitality gives you extra stamina, so as you get to super high levels then you have more stamina and you have items that boost it. But bit of an annoying mechanic to deal with in the second game, but at least you can run at all instead of just being forced to walk like in a grid like this. So if you were forced to just walk and like this in Diablo 2, then it would take forever to complete the game. So okay, there we go. So yeah, Diablo 2 is sort of more again gothic. Not really survival horror, but sort of gothic horror, and definitely action RPG-ish, but slower paced because you're not just running around really fast, hitting and running, then moving on to the next thing, like it's not really important. In this game, the lore was definitely more of a thing, and conversations with NPCs about quest lines and certain sub-quests that you can get. Definitely more of a factor in this game compared to the second game, so definitely a slower paced, more lore heavy game compared to the second game. So I would like to liken it to the Alien movies. The first Alien movie, definitely slower paced, more story heavy. The second movie, Aliens, in the trilogy, much more action based, and there's still a story, but it's definitely more action-y. And like people are really getting into the action and fighting back and all that kind of stuff. So I guess in some ways also a similar comparison can be made to Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. Terminator 1, you know, kind of like an action movie, but again, there's more survival type aspects about it where you're trying to survive from something, whereas Terminator 2, definitely more of an action-based movie than the first one. And Diablo 2 is kind of like that as well. And of course, you know, action movies, obviously, they still have stories in them. You know, for example, you know, Terminator 2, more of an action movie, but there's still a pretty good story going on there that you have to follow up. And then, like, also with, like, Die Hard, well-known action movie, but there's also a plot to that as well, and some backstory and, you know, different character motivations and things like that. But some movies are just more heavy on the action than others, so that is definitely the case with Diablo 1 going into Diablo 2, is that this game is something that you could just watch a long play or a let's play of this game to get the story for it if you didn't really want to play it. And then you could just play Diablo 2 for actually playing it and experiencing it for yourself. So But my personal recommendation would still be, even if you are watching this Let's Play, definitely give Diablo a try for yourself, even if it's not with the Belzebub mod. Definitely give it a try. Obviously the Belzebub mod is free and it's easy to download and use, but if you want the original experience of the game without the mod to see what it was like, because I've already played the original version, so I already know what it's like before playing the Belzebub mod, but definitely would recommend giving this game a go at least one time. And if you do play it, the class is up to you, but the Sorcerer may be the most interesting because then you choose what spells to use. Whereas if you're playing with a warrior, you're basically doing the same thing. You're going up and whacking people in the face. If you're a rogue, you're just shooting a bunch of arrows. But with a sorcerer, you have more choices as far as like choosing what spells to use, what spells to learn, what spells to buy from shops, what gear to use to increase your stats, what staff to use to go ahead and increase your magic powers, you know, that kind of thing. And choosing between mana regeneration or stat boosts, for example. There's more meaningful decisions, I think, with a sorcerer in this game compared to the other classes. And the other classes are more monotonous in how you play them, so they're basically the same throughout the entire game, so... Kill the Overlord there, and then kill the Familiar over there. Pixel hunting for things on the ground because I don't know... Sadly, I just don't know how to highlight items. I can't really identify the hotkey for that. Maybe the quick reference at the beginning of the game told you how to do it, but I don't remember if there's a function for that, and I haven't really been able to fiddle around with the hotkeys to find out, so... Don't want to do something by accident that would quit the game, or quick save it, or do something weird like that. Or like a save and exit function or something like that that I don't want to do by accident. I apologize if my nose is a bit drizzly today. Sometimes my nose does get stuffy in the winter sometimes, so something I have to kind of deal with a little bit. Now here was the Halls of the Blind that we already dealt with, and that's down to level 8. Then I guess we have... There's no more area over here, I guess, to deal with. I'm a completionist. I just wanted to explore that little bit over there just to be sure. And I guess we have one last door over here. Alright then, looks like we're going to make our way down to level 8 then, and then I think that once we go ahead and find the waypoint in level 8, which I assume will be there. So far it's been every other level that we've had a waypoint in. But yeah, we're going to go down to level 8, and then hopefully we'll find the waypoint down there and we can end the episode for this time around. Lots and lots of gold over there. That chest was kind of strapped to the teeth with gold. Yep, so we have quite a bit of gold now. Oh, and there's the waypoint. Oh, that's excellent, actually. We'll go to this, we'll go to the bookcase over there first and get whatever spells in there and see if it's worth anything. Then we'll go activate the waypoint and end the episode here. What enemies lie behind this door? Oh, lovely. Zhar the Mad. Alright, so let's go ahead and cap off the episode with Zhar the Mad, I guess. Whatever he is. This should be interesting, at the very least.
What? Why are you here? All these interruptions are enough to make one insane. Here, take this and leave me to my work. Trouble me no more.
Oh, a book of charged bolt. Wow, so much power. So much. I mean, really, if you wanted me to get off your back, you could have at least given me a better spell book. I mean, it only makes sense, right? Let's go back to town and see if anyone has anything to say about Zhar the Mad before we go ahead and annoy him some more, I guess, and probably provoke him into attacking us, I imagine. So let's go ahead and talk about Zhar the Mad and see if anyone has any idea what I'm talking about and that I'm not going mad talking about it.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
So I guess Zhar the Mad is definitely unbeknownst to all the townspeople here, so... And I imagine it was probably the same thing for Garbad the Weak, the goat enemy that we encountered. The goat demon that we encountered sometime earlier. Optic Amulet. Yeah, this was the amulet that we got from the Halls of the Blind quest. +5 to magic is +5 to magic, very good. -1 damage from enemies. Lightning resistance, all good things. What do our stats look like without this? I mean, gaining more magic allows us to do more of our magic tomes with the spells on them, so we can learn them a bit easier. We lose 18 mana, but we gain 5 to our magic. We do lose some hit points out of the deal. This is kind of tough because both of these items are very good. This improves our survivability a little bit and allows us to wear some better gear. And we lose a bit of mana from it. But with higher magic, that will allow us to do better with learning spellbooks, I guess. So we'll go with this, and it gives us lightning resistance too, which is not it's not irrelevant for lightning resistance, so let's go ahead and do that. Viper Chant, more lightning resistance, and regenerating mana. And firewall charges. Well, that's actually interesting. Both of them regenerate 2 mana every 5 seconds, but this has lightning resistance and this one doesn't. And the damage is pretty much irrelevant for the staff, so I think that we're going to actually go with this staff because lightning resistance is more valuable than casting telekinesis from a staff, so let's go ahead and do this. -3 mana but +4 to magic. Yeah, that's this is a belt that is at odds with itself, definitely. Yeah, so I think it's worth it to have both of these items on here. Now we have, at the very least, good lightning resistance, so if we deal with lightning magic enemies, then at least we're going to be okay there.
What ails you, my friend?
Alright, so telekinesis, you go to F8, and then the Staff of Firewall, you will go to F6, or, yeah, F6. We'll just go ahead and cast Firewall from the staff since we have it. And then let's sell some of this stuff, not to you, but to you.
Whoa, what can I do for you?
Pawn off some of this stuff. Death Spell, that's a very good staff, but again, the lightning resistance is just more important here than all the other benefits that we don't need. He's not going to take them. He will take these, however. Now that we're going to get some good money out of that, so it's definitely prioritized as a very good amulet for us, and for anyone, honestly. Splint mail that we don't have enough strength to use, but is pretty good for a warrior there, so knock yourselves out. So yeah, mana regeneration definitely kind of helping here to give us a bit more longevity for our spell casting, so we don't have to So that way we don't have to burn through potions quite as much. We don't have to carry a big inventory full of them. Alright, let's go ahead and get rid of
I
this stuff
sense
to
a soul
Adria.
in search of answers.
And I think 4 mana potions in the inventory is okay. Nothing too relevant there. I mean, plus 5% spell power, I don't know what that means. Maybe it's just 5% more damage. And maybe 5% more healing, but not really worth it for the cost. No spells there that I'm interested in, so I'm going to pass on them. Alright, now that we dealt with that, and we know that,
All I can do now is pray for us all.
so now that we've done with that, now we'll deal with the, Zhar the Mad here. See what he's going to do to us. Magic user to magic user. How annoying am I? Can I talk to this guy at all? I don't know, maybe I have to take stuff from his library here to go ahead and provoke him. Arcane, Enchanted, and Vampiric.
Your curiosity will be the death of you.
Well, the book was definitely worth it. Looks like the spells that he casts are Flash and Fireball. So if you get close to him, he'll cast Flash, like if you're a warrior or something like that. And then he'll cast Fireball elsewhere. So, let's see about this. Another Book of Stone Curse. Very nice. Maybe we can Stone Curse him, actually, to prevent him from teleporting around everywhere. Maybe a case where Stone Curse will come in handy for us. There we go. That is wonderful. So for this particular encounter, I might want to go ahead and put Stone Curse on a hotkey for something that I don't use. I can also just use Guardian, actually. Let's put Guardian in F3, and then we'll go ahead and put Lightning on... We'll keep Lightning the same since we are kind of memorizing the hotkey here. That'll go to F5, and then that'll be F6. Okay. So, and then we'll switch between Stone Curse and Lightning here and see if this works on him. Where did he go? So yeah, Stone Curse is a bit expensive here on our mana. Oh, you want to move? Let's move. Definitely want to move. Let's see if Guardian will help out too.
Sorry, did I break your concentration?
The smugness from our sorcerer as we kill him. It's like Zhar the Mad just couldn't handle being interrupted by anyone. And then he died for it. And we didn't really get anything of loot, but we did get the spellbook from his bookcase there of Stone Curse, so I guess that's something. More skeleton variants going on in here. Just kind of checking out what's in here, and then I will end the episode after clearing out these barrels here. Alright, nothing of note over there. Some extra gold over there, and then we're going to go through the waypoints. So it seems like every other level in the dungeon has a waypoint in it, so that's nice to know that it has a set pattern there, so you kind of know when you're going to encounter a waypoint to activate. Alright, that is wonderful. Alright, so we're just kind of winding down here. We're going to end the episode in town, as is kind of tradition, I guess.
Stay a while and listen.
White cap of dexterity.
Whoa, what can I do for you?
Not bad, but that's just selling fodder for the shops. Oh, that's a cool looking axe that we just can't use.
What ails you, my friend?
Alright, so I think that about does it, and I think this will be the end of the episode, so I thank you all for joining me. We're able to deal with several things in this episode, nothing that's too plot relevant to the main story compared to like King Leoric in the previous episodes, and the missing son, the butcher, all that kind of stuff, the missing prince, etc. So nothing that's really related to the main plot all that much in the last 1 or 2 episodes, but we were able to go ahead and deal with Zhar the Mad just now, and then we were able to go ahead and go through the Chamber of Bone with some interesting backstory provided by Cain for that particular encounter. And then we went through the poetry of the Halls of the Blind, and went through there and got a nice unique item out of that, the Optic Amulet. And so again, more interesting lore information from Cain on the Halls of the Blind, and some interesting little, maybe not lore tidbits, but just poetic type things that you can kind of ponder in philosophy and the meaning of life and whatever. And so I thank everyone for joining me this time around. I hope that you all enjoyed this episode of the original Diablo. And so hopefully we'll be doing more demon slaying next time in this playthrough of Diablo by me, Ryan, also known as thelovebat. So I hope you all have a great evening, a great start to the new year as always, and I hope that you all take care.